entertainment.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of State of the Jungle live from the First Star Logistics Studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm your host, Malik Wright, joined by my co-host. We got Evan McPhillips. We got Logan Fulmer. We got a jam-packed show. Lots to get into, lots to talk about, lots to celebrate. But before we do, as always, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join the conversation, get your popcorn ready. Guys, questions got answered. Questions got answered. We sat here and we talked about it all last week. We said questions would get answered this upcoming week as the Cincinnati Bengals traveled to Buffalo and they took on the Buffalo Bills. And, we had a lot of people in the comment section buying into the hype, buying into the Bengals being 5-point underdogs. Then the Bengals went to 5.5 underdogs. Then the Bengals went to 6-point underdogs against the Buffalo Bills, despite last time they faced the Buffalo Bills having a lead on them. Isn't it crazy that game started the exact same way the game started the first time? Bengals go down and score, stop them on defense, and about to score again. Obviously, we know what took place. It was great to see Damar Hamlin back up healthy, getting healthy for the Buffalo Bills. And, the simple fact of the matter is we got nothing but love and appreciation for the Buffalo Bills organization. I feel like those are two organizations, the Bengals and the Buffalo Bills organization, that are forever intertwined. However, we got to talk about it because a lot of people sat in that comment section and said, hey, you know what? We don't know what we're talking about. Daniel and I, we traveled to Buffalo. We got a lot of people saying a lot of crap to us. A lot of people wanting to pick fights with Daniel in the bathroom for whatever reason during halftime. Get people making derogatory comments at us, people making fun of my Nike swooshes, the Ken Griffey's that I think actually look good. But the simple fact of the matter is the Bengals have now won, 10 straight?
Yeah.
10 straight.
I hate to see it.
I love what you're saying in the comment section, Sean. Refund Monday. That's what today is. We're like the government, right? Where it's tax day, where we're handing out, we're giving you back your taxes, your fund you pay for the year. That's how I feel right now about the Cincinnati Bengals, man. So like I said, man, props to the Cincinnati Bengals, props to the Bills. But as I said, from the time this show started, the Bengals are the team to beat. Like the hat says, they gotta play us. Evan, Logan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it all last week about how we thought the Bengals were the better team. They had the upper hand. We talked about the fast start they had last week. We talked about how, not to worry too much about the offensive line, and everybody kind of sat back, called us crazy, called us dumb, called us biased, whatever.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, you should have called us right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Malik Wright, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just worked out that way. Obviously, we're allowed to be a little more confident than everybody. We kind of spend a little more time watching this team than most, but we don't just come up here and talk, out of our asses, so to speak. So, I mean, we knew what we were talking about, and
Talk your talk,
continues this week.
Talk your talk.
Talk your talk, man. What do you say, Ev?
Well, shoot, Malik, if only someone would have talked about the Bills' offensive line and that maybe it wasn't quite as good as was being talked about or being ignored altogether even. It seemed a lot of focus was on that Bengals O-line. And if only someone would have tried to sit up here and tell you guys that Joe Burrow is elite in the quick game and has those numbers and getting the ball out in under 2.5 seconds, he's already doing it. So what kind of adjustment do you need? Could have talked about that. Could have talked about, the issues that Josh Allen has with pressure and understanding some of those coverages. And he looked quite lost when he was looking at some of those coverages that Lou would change the picture post snap. And to his credit, Lou's in his bag, and we'll talk more on that.
Yeah.
We'll throw some stats that way to back that up and show why Big Lou has been one of the best defensive coordinators, not just this season, but since he has been with the Bengals going up against these elite quarterbacks, whether that's Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. The data holds up that Lou has been one
Mm-hmm.
of the best defensive coordinators at limiting these elite quarterbacks. And this is just another game, another feather in his cap. The Bengals went out there and they covered 66.7% of the Bills' offensive plays perfectly. That is not only great execution, but great scheme. It is making Josh Allen hesitate. It is putting the pressure on him with guys like Mike Hilton, who goes and gets 4 pressures in only 7 attempts. It's being efficient with those looks and getting them dialed up at the right time, making them guess, making them have those issues where the picture changes. And sure enough, we brought all that up, and it came to pass that way.
Oh, yeah.
Did.
And, we're celebrating on the show. Ev's got his whiskey. I've got my wine. But you know what? I feel like busting out in a song right now. I do. I got to be honest with you, because a long, long time ago, remember that? I could still remember how the rest of the NFL used to pick against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they said they wouldn't be here the whole 9 yards, right?
It's the Bengals.
But you know what? I knew if we had our chance, we could surprise a lot of people. We got our chance to surprise our. Yeah, I like what people are saying. Like somebody says, "What wine is Malik? What is Malik's go-to?" I'm bringing a little bit of strawberry Moscato right now. Ev's drinking a little Maker's Mark whiskey. I think Logan's got the same thing with me right now. But no, in all honesty, I think it's important that we do celebrate the small victory. That's something that I've learned over time. It's very, very hard to get back to this spot.
It was 31 years prior to last year? I mean, yeah, no, you got to take them as they come.
It's challenging. Listen, and I want to say something real quick before we get into everything that we got to say. The Bills, you guys are a fantastic organization. You guys have a fantastic team. You guys had a great season. You did.
Mm-hmm.
You fell short. And the sad part is only one team can make it in the end, right? From each conference. And if it wasn't the Cincinnati Bengals, I would have wanted it to be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
That is a first-class organization. Now, I got to be honest with you. Some of the Buffalo Bills fans are absolutely crazy guys. We had some crazy stuff happening. Yeah. We saw a guy in our section get he told us he got punched in his face. We had another guy get threatened in the bathroom. We had another guy when we were sitting at a red light. A Bills fan jumped out of his car and told the guy to take, his effing Bengals flag down, and then proceeded to, they proceeded to jaw back and forth. This is while oncoming traffic is happening, by the way. This is after the game. A Bills fan ran up to a Bengals fan and tried to rip his Bengals flag out of his car. This is the God's honest truth. You know what I mean? But I will say that there was some Bills fans, a lot of Bills fans there who operated with class, who were awesome. But we had a lot of people who were disrespectful towards us as we were walking there. And, I understand fan atmosphere, but I genuinely thought that we were going to get into some situations there. Honestly, people will keep asking me, what was the atmosphere like? It was very hostile.
There's a difference between having that passion, having that good natured kind of back and forth debate. You can do that in a good way. You can talk your talk and say, no, we're definitely going to beat you. We're better this way and this way and this way. And that's fine. And two, I want to say Chiefs fans credit. When I was there last year for the championship game, they were exceptional. They were exceptional beforehand. We had some good natured talks back and forth, a couple barbs, couple jabs. And when the game was over and the clock hit 0, everyone took their time to say, congratulations, go get them. We're happy for what this means to you. And it's a shame that didn't happen for a lot of interactions for some people, but don't let that reflect on the whole Buffalo, because they have some great fans.
Some great fans.
They obviously, Bengals and Buffalo have that interconnectivity that we've had for the last couple of years. Nothing but respect, like you said, for that organization, and just know that is not reflective of the entire Bills fan base.
Absolutely
many
not.
of you guys are exceptional, and we're great hosts, and we do really appreciate that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But like I said, it was really, really awesome just to be there in the atmosphere. That really had like a rivalry feel to it.
Right.
That crosses over off a lot of, stadiums I've been to that are quote unquote rowdy. We did the Patriots one that was rowdy. I did the Ravens when I was there for Lamar's first start. It was a lot of fan bases out there that are rowdy. But next year, I'm hoping that me and the boys, we might have to make a travel to Pittsburgh. I want to see what that's like. But I'm only going with the brothers. I'm only going with my guys. But I hear that Pittsburgh is pretty wild.
I was gonna say we might have to roll deep there.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. We're gonna roll deep. I mean, I'm talking about like 12 of us deep. You know what I mean? Make sure we're all solidified and good things of that nature. And Bengals, props to the Bengals fan base. Can we clap it up for the Bengals fan base for a little bit? You guys traveled absolutely amazing. I mean, it was a sea of orange at one point. All you heard was who they. And honestly, that's the type of thing. Listen, Packers fan base travels well. Cowboys fan base, I guess there's a Cowboys fan, a bunch of Cowboys. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Props to the Bengals fan base, man. They really showed up and showed out. And I got some news flash for you. I saw a tweet out there. It says, KC fans, no matter what happens, I better not hear, so the person said, I better not hear one damn who they chant, muffled through the stadium speaker. So Cincinnati fan base, you know what to do. Who Dey Nation, you know what to do. What, it's 8.5 hours or something like that? Let's make a travel to Kansas City. Let's take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and let's damn near try to make it a 50-50 crowd if we could, right? Because I definitely think the Cincinnati Bengals faithful is going to pack the house. I think the Cincinnati Bengals faithful is going to be loud. It's going to be erupting, and they're going to be ready for anything that Mahomes and his homeboys throw at us. The simple fact is I'm ready for this game, man. I'm ready for this game. But what was you guys' reaction? Like, I was there in the stadium, right, with Daniel, and we experienced all the trash talk, heard some Bengals fans got things spilt on them and all this kind of, but what was you guys' experience like watching the game? What was it like for you guys? Because listen, one thing, I spoke to some older folks, right? Some older gentlemen, Garrett. And we were talking earlier today, and I said, hey, this is no longer your grandfather's Bengals. This is no longer your dad's Bengals. How does it feel to be a Bengals fan all your life, right? It's one thing for me to be a Bengals fan all my life. Now I'm an NFL insider, cover the NFL as a whole, but to actually be here in the city. But I keep thinking about the people who have been living in Cincinnati that have never known a Cincinnati Bengals team to be like the one that we are seeing right now. What is it like for them to be experiencing? So, Evan, you're a guy, you grew up in Cincinnati damn near your entire life, I think, at least, besides, but except when you travel to Alabama, right?
Brief hiatus to the championship, to title town.
Yeah, absolutely, to title town. Now, I got to know what your opinion is. What is it like right now to be experiencing what you're experiencing right now? Again, guys, if you're all here, all 200 plus people, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love you. We appreciate you. We can't do this without you. This is a show for the fans, and that's why we do this each and every single week. And we'll be back here Wednesday as well doing it. But Evan, continue.
Well, usually I like to default to some stats to try and make my points and help support my arguments. But right now I'm going to make that kind of emotional appeal here and just go
off,
speak from the heart.
Go off.
Like you said, man, I was born and raised here, man. I remember the Carson days. I remember watching that injury. I remember going through with the Andy Dalton years. And again, Andy Dalton, great guy. But we were talking earlier with another Bengals fan, and we were just talking about the confidence and the calm you have when Joe Burrow is dropping back in any situation versus the tensing up that used to happen when you watched Andy drop back and you were just hoping that something didn't go wrong. And now you have that confidence that everything's going to go right. And if that doesn't show the shifting of the mindset for the average Bengals fan, then I don't know what does. You said this isn't your grandfather's Bengals or your father's Bengals. This isn't even your older brother's Bengals. This is a revolution that has really taken 3 years to kind of form. And I think everyone is finally becoming very aware that this is an absolute change that is not a flash in the pan, that there is something here to be sustained, and this team is to be taken seriously from here on out, because they will spend on the players they feel they need to spend on. They will acquire players in free agency. They will acquire players in the draft that they say, you know what, we don't care about our scouting department size. We think we know who the good players are, and they've done a good job at picking those solid contributors. And we'll see how they choose to operate with in terms of cap and in terms of cutting players in the future. And that's kind of the next frontier for them. But you've seen this Bengals organization really turn a page in the last couple of years. There's disbelief among Bengals fans that you have to pinch yourself sometimes to be like, Joe Burrow, this guy, the coolest guy in the NFL, arguably, with all this swagger, who just comes out and takes care of business, is not about all the flash and the glamour, just kind of has his quiet, cocky confidence, whatever border edge you want to put that to. it feels surreal. It feels magical. It's wow, we've got this guy for the next 8-10 years plus. It's tough to put into words what it means to Cincinnati and to everybody. So that's my piece.
What say you, Lolo? You've been living here.
Yeah. I mean, typically around this time of the year, outside of the last few years, everybody's 6, 7, 8 mock drafts deep. We're looking at who we want in free agency, who we want in the draft. Man, who are we going to hire as our coach? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? And just, we've reached this point of stability, which is just so amazing. It's such a unique, different feeling for this city. And it's just, I mean, obviously everything Evan said is exactly why we have that, but it's just like, we're playing football in January again, possibly in February again. Like, it doesn't even feel real that like football could be over, like is over. There's only 4 teams still playing. And it just feels normal that we're one of the 4. And, that's something I never will take for granted because we've all been there. We've been in the dumps, but I mean, right now it just feels so normal and it's such a rare feeling for the city, and it's not going to go away for a while.
So let me speak to you guys for a second. Like, you're talking to a kid who grew up in New Jersey, hated the Giants, hated the Jets because they played in our state, never gave us any credit, was a fan of Tigers growing up. Could you believe it? Tigers, back when the Bengals had the Tiger logo. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be a Bengals fan. I like playing them on Madden. I like Chad. I like Hoosh. I said, I'm going to be a Bengals fan. Every single one of my friends used to ridicule me. My best friend, God rest his soul. So we used to watch each and every single Bengals game together, playoff game together. For all the years that we were losing to the Houston Texans twice, to the Indianapolis Colts, to the Chargers. We endured all of that, man. And I'll remember the night, which was probably one of the darkest days of my life. And this is the fan in me talking right now. One of the darkest days of my life was the 2015 playoff loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You talk about low. You talk about bottom of the barrel feeling. I never knew that a team, right? A team could have that much of a hold on me. And seeing the Bengals lose in that fashion, it hurt me. It broke me. It made me cry, down inside. And I remember being so upset, so furious. I ran out to my car and I had a bunch of stickers on my car. And I ripped them off. And I said, F this. I can't do it. I can't, I can't endure this so much. My friends and all that, like that growing up, were ridiculing me, making fun of me, the whole 9 yards. Let me just say this right now. From that moment on, that was one of the biggest things that happened because it helped me remove myself from the game and start speaking objectively. And then I started focusing more on my career path, right? Being in the media, doing the whole 9 yards, started a media company. Then I remember doing the deep dive on a kid from LSU, right? And props to my buddy Grant Dickman. He says to me, he said, Malik, you're looking at Justin Herbert. You're looking at Tua because I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, just like Evan over here. Roll Tide. And he said, you need to look at this kid, Joe Burrow. I said, Joe Burrow? You talking about the same kid that got crushed against Bama last year? He said, yeah.
Preseason, I said, I'm not worried about Joe Burrow and LSU
because
who knew what the hell was going to happen, man.
We looked and we saw it, bro. Joe Burrow, we watched every single game together. Joe Burrow was cooking. He was cooking, man. He was cooking.
Him closely.
I watched him intently. I watched him closely.
After about week 5, after the Florida and the Texas game, it was like, okay, we need to see if this kid's for real because he's in the conversation.
Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, I was looking for every single flaw that I could of this kid. I said, well, he doesn't have the strongest arm.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Touch. Anticipation.
Oof.
Right? Doesn't matter how much far you can throw the ball down the field. Right. I said, all right, well, I need to see this kid against Alabama because I remember what he did to Todd Grantham's defense. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Shredded him. I said, I need to see him against Alabama. Donald Trump was at the game. The whole 9-yard president of the United States was at the game. It was the biggest game in college football of the year. Joe Burrow tossed it over Trayvon Diggs' head to Jamar Chase, made him look like Swiss cheese. I said, whoa. Okay.
He was so good, I couldn't even be mad.
Bro.
That was the worst part about it.
I felt blessed to watch him.
Right.
I felt blessed.
That's the worst part, isn't it?
Bro, honestly, out of every loss Alabama has suffered, there's only 2 losses that pissed me off, right? It was a loss to what? Mississippi State.
Had to be that one against Clemson at the end, right?
Clemson pissed me off. Here's the plus side. It looks like my Bengals are going to grab him. That's what I said. Looks like the Bengals are going to be able to grab him. But guys, trust me, I looked for every reason to dislike this kid. I did. And I could not find a reason. Then I saw him at the combine. I was there at the combine as a media member, the whole 9 yards, and seeing how just prepared he was. And I told everybody this when people were judging him and stuff like that. I said, his tape is better than Andrew Luck's tape.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Andrew Luck was here and everybody was crowning Andrew Luck as the next greatest quarterback? A lot like how they were doing with Trevor.
It was the tools, man. People were looking at the tools.
Yeah.
You looked at Joe Burrow and you saw the intangibles, the
Yeah.
skill, the ability.
The word I hate. I hate intangible. I hate that
do
word.
too, because especially as an analytics guy, that's so hard to quantify.
Yeah.
You can clearly see he was accurate beyond measure. His accuracy plus, which
Yeah.
is talking about his ball placement, not just did you complete the pass, but did you lead your receiver in a point where they could easily get yak afterwards? Did they have it low and away, high and behind, anything like that? And PFF's charting absolutely loved him. So had to look really hard at that. And like you said, intangibles, we hate that because it's so hard to nail down something that is we want something that's finite, something we can quantify, and we can't. And you just saw with him game after game, he had that. And it was special.
Yeah.
And that told you, like, hey, this guy can play quarterback. He is a quarterback who is an athlete, as I say, as opposed to an athlete who plays quarterback.
Right.
Which you can see, like we said, with that anticipation, the ability to diagnose the defense, his comfortability in the pocket and ability to maneuver that without becoming a runner and looking for that pass, but knowing that balance of when to become the runner, when to go ahead and stay in the pocket and really hang in there for something to come open. And those intangibles that you see so consistently that you finally become, like you and I did, believers, to where you're like, what do you even say about the guy
right anymore? I'll tell you this right now, guys. Do me a favor, make sure you guys give the video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. One of my friends who's a scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers said to me, he said, hey, listen, he said, this might be the last year where we either sweep you guys or we split with you guys, because that kid that you guys are about to draft, Joe Burrow, is the real deal. A lot of people don't realize the interest the Pittsburgh Steelers had in Joe Burrow was serious. They were really interested. I'm talking about before he had the meteoric rise and things of that nature. They were thinking about he's going to be a late in draft pick, mid-round draft pick.
Like background, second,
exactly.
Third pick.
And they really like this. Love you, Jared. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you, man. And you've always been supporting. Make sure you guys check out the Bengals then while you're at it. But in all seriousness, though, man, I started watching this guy. I started doing deep dives with Daniel on this guy, man. And I said, man, this is the best quarterback that I have ever watched.
The polish.
He's so polished. And it's something you can't necessarily teach. It's the way he makes the players around him better. And I genuinely, when I say it, listen, I understand I'm a Bengals fan and I don't hide that. That's another reason why I don't want to cover the team. And I tell you guys that. I'll cover any other team. I don't care. Cover any other team from a media perspective. But I don't want to lose my fandom of being a part of the team. And as a media member, they teach you're supposed to be unbiased. I can be unbiased because I'm very real, but I also want to be able to talk freely. You know, a lot of times we have credentials with teams. They threaten credentials. They do all that. I don't care about any of that. I want to be able to talk freely, open with you, and be able to have this type of a conversation with Bengals fans, which is why I never shy away from it. I never want to be a media member for the Bengals. I always want to have a show, talk about the Bengals a lot like this, and include you guys in on the journey while also being a media member and sharing the inside scoops that I do have. I don't need to be there from a 9 to 5 to do that. I appreciate you guys so much supporting us, but let me just tell you this right now. Joe Burrow, what he's doing right now is absolutely unreal. And when I say it, people might look at me and say, you know what? You're just a Bengals fan saying this. Look at me. And I want to be ultra clear with you guys when I say what I'm about to say. Before Tom Brady did what he did in New England was a small market team that nobody thought anything of. They didn't accomplish much. And remember, Tom Brady replaced Drew Bledsoe, right? Mm-hmm. And Tom Brady went on the run that he went on. And now the Cincinnati Bengals are very much in that same predicament, or were in that same predicament, right? It's Joe Burrow now. And who is he compared to? Tom Brady. Why? Because it isn't just about the talent. It's about uplifting the players around you. And we see Joe Burrow do this exact same thing.
You know what the fun thing about that is?
What's that?
Is he has all of that anticipation, the timing, the understanding, the cerebral ability that Tom Brady had. And Tom Brady only got stronger with his arm throughout his career. So you're talking about you've got a guy who's as dedicated as Joe Burrow is to working in the offseason, his confidence and his hunger to be better, his dissatisfaction with where he is currently at all times. He's always looking ahead, trying to push past his own limits.
Right.
And you're telling me that guy, like, I mean, his arm strength, if we're going on the grade scale, sure, maybe it's a B+ NFL arm. But like we said, with his anticipation and his timing, it doesn't matter. Like, what if he develops that arm strength like Tom Brady did gradually by tweaking his mechanics and getting it a little sharper? Like, I mean, that's fun. That's terrifying.
let me say something that the average, and look, I want you to butt in at any point in time because I've been going on a rant. But I want to tell you something, guys, that a lot of people that watch football every single day don't understand. Hopefully Evan understands what I'm about to say. Hopefully Logan understands what I'm about to say. Dash, my guy who's here from Portland, hopefully he understands. And I know Daniel understands because we sat and we talked about these things. And I said it to him 2 years ago. Told my buddy Pranav, right? Works for my company. I said to him, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are literally about to go on a special run. He said, what are you talking about? Guys, I don't care that the Bengals haven't won a Super Bowl just yet. I understand that's the metric you're going to be graded upon, but I'm here to tell you right now. I firmly believe in my heart exactly what I said. Losing that Super Bowl last year was one of probably the best things that could have happened to them because it taught them that it showed them what they were capable of. It showed them that the old Bengal way had died. And it also showed them that, hey, you know what? This is what we just did on the surface. Imagine what happens when we actually evolve. So what I'm going to say to you right now, I want people to listen to me. The reason why people are comparing Joe Burrow to Tom Brady is not just because from a leadership standpoint, the way he literally shifts an entire culture of a football team. Look at those Patriots teams in 2014, 2015. They find different ways to win. They don't need Joe Burrow to just pass for 500 yards. And we sit up here and we say that every single week. The guy finds different ways to win. It doesn't matter what the elements are. It doesn't matter if it's snow. It doesn't matter if it's
Garrett Blunt. They had Stephen Ridley for a while before he started fumbling all the time. I mean, they had Deion Lewis even out there looking like he was one of the best backs in the league. I mean, they would find different ways. And that's the same way that Joe Burrow has found Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. And those are the similarities I see between him and Brady is, that ability to hit that check down when it makes sense, because Tom Brady was that check down king where as soon as you left it open for him, he's like, dude, I'll check it down for 2 yards. Let him get 3 or 4 after that. Yeah. Okay. 6 yards on first down, second down. We're rolling.
When it's all said and done, the reason why the Mahomes and the Allens of the world struggle with a quarterback like Joe Burrow and a team like the Cincinnati Bengals is because Cincinnati realizes you have to play 3 phases of football: offense, defense, and special teams. And it takes all 3 phases, all 3 units playing cohesive. I'm here to tell you guys right now, the run that the Bengals are about to go on is going to be very, very special. I looked at Daniel and I said, the Bengals are going to be that next small market team, because every couple of years it's a small market team that has the ability to rise up. Right. And it's about if you do it the correct way. Right. And the margin for error in the NFL is so slim. Like it's so slim. And right now it feels like the Bengals are doing it the correct way. And I'm here to tell you right now, with that guy that they have, that quarterback and that coach that is adaptable, that is willing to change, I believe Joe Burrow, when it's all said and done, will bring multiple Super Bowls to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think I don't listen. You guys know this about me. If I didn't think they were able to do it, they weren't. I would tell you. Right. It's like the first year Joe Burrow took over. I wasn't saying this. I wasn't saying that because I think that they had to evolve. They had to do a lot of different things of that nature. But who they have at the receiver position, who they have at the quarterback position, and the coaches that they have, I genuinely believe when it's all said and done, Joe Burrow will bring multiple Super Bowls to the Cincinnati Bengals. And get this, the first one is going to be this year. The first one is going to be this year. So clip it, book it, do whatever you have to do. I'm already ready. I'm already going to the Super Bowl as a media member this year, covering it. It's going to be really, really neat to be covering the Super Bowl as a media member, to see the Cincinnati Bengals raise the Lombardi Trophy. So at the end of the day, you can call me crazy. You can call me a biased Bengals fan. Let me tell you something right now. The Bengals did something that was really, really tough against all the odds. They went into Buffalo with terrible weather conditions, and they found a way to win.
With 3 backup offensive linemen.
With 3 backup offensive. And that was the storyline.
Yep.
Let's not forget, that was the storyline. Joe Burrow's going to get sacked multiple times, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you right now. Joe Burrow's going to bring multiple championships to Cincinnati. The first one is going to be this year. Write whatever you got to write. Do all the comparisons. And I like what my guy Chase said in the comment section. He said it still feels like Joe Burrow is underrated. But let me tell you why. Because Tom Brady for a long, long time was underrated. The underrated conversations will stop right?
Mhm.
Through consistency with success. That's when the underrated comparison, the underrated, talk will stop.
People like the flash, people like the tools, and they're gonna put that above
It ain't look exactly.
the intangibles
Yeah.
until you prove that you can beat those special teams with that. And I just want to say too, to the point you said earlier, margin for error in NFL games is so small. And Joe Burrow went into a hostile environment in Buffalo in the snow, and people were worried about baby hands Burrow, baby arm Burrow, whatever you want to call it. And that man went out there and threw 0 turnover worthy plays.
Yeah.
That's and a margin for error game where you can't have that one play that messes you up, or else that could be it, especially you end up going home. That ability to find the opportunity for the big time throws to Hayden Hurst, to chase in the end zone, to chase on the touchdown that stood. That's big time. And to also keep the ball out of harm's way. You're adding so much positive to your team while maintaining a baseline for the negative. And his ability to have a high floor, even if he ain't the highest ceiling, his worst game is still going to be just fine.
The funny thing is, right, I'm looking at a comment right here. Masty Flips, I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm just a little excited. Somebody said, I buy into what Malik says. It was a big Jim Slade. He says, I buy into what Malik says. He was the only one in the media standing by Lou Anarumo. He said, listen up. And Lou, I trust, been a fan since. I appreciate you, brother. And I appreciate you for supporting as well. What if I told you the Bengals defense still has another level to get to? Would you believe me?
Yeah. After the numbers I saw from the last game,
that's true.
There's nothing I don't think Lou can't do right now.
No. But hear me out. The Cincinnati Bengals defense, right? Eli Apple, right? Cam Taylor-Britt are not guys that you would necessarily think would be number 1 and number 2 cornerbacks on a playoff caliber or AFC caliber championship team, right?
Right.
But yet still they're here. BJ Hill, DJ Reader, phenomenal. Now DJ Reader definitely would. But could you imagine, right? What he's doing right now is he went out there, he grabbed his linebacker, and he grabbed his linebacker in Logan Wilson. He grabbed his linebacker in Akeem Davis-Gaither. They drafted Jermaine Pratt. A lot of people forget that, right? They got the Dax Hill. But could you imagine if they add a dominant 3-tech or another dominant edge rusher to help this football team, or another cornerback to help this football? What I'm saying is this defense has a lot of room to improve and a lot of room to grow still. Like if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm loading up on defense this draft. I am. Sure, you can go out there, grab another tackle, but we got to talk about Jackson Carman. I'm sure we will. But the fact of the matter is, I look at the Cincinnati Bengals and I say, wow, they're doing this right now with a bunch of cast-offs. The Giants didn't play BJ Hill. Sat him on his roster, did not play him.
Maybe got him for Billy Price.
Right.
Which is, talk about a red paperclip deal. Wow. I mean, just.
Right. But you
great
look
job by the pro scouting department.
Great job, phenomenal.
I mean, again,
but if
jokes about the small scouting department, but hey, they keep doing this. They keep doing this.
Sometimes
they got Mike Hilton. They keep doing this. I'm sorry, I had to. God.
You can't always have. Sometimes you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
No,
right? But you want to talk about cast-offs, right? People just forget about. People don't appreciate. Let's actually deep dive into this. Von Bell signing. The Saints let him go. They didn't try to bring him in. People said Von Bell wouldn't do anything special with Cincinnati. He's been the enforcer of the defense. People said Trey Hendrickson was a run stuffer and only a product of playing with Cam Jordan. His first time with the Cincinnati Bengals, he had 14.5 sacks. Trey Flowers, terrible pickup. Great for tight end coverage. I mean, you look at BJ Hill, again, we said, didn't get a chance to really spread his wings. Matt Sharping, right? There's so many quote unquote cast-offs, and it almost reminds me of what Joe Judge said.
And Samaje. Sorry. They just keep coming. I can't stop.
Eli Apple. Lou Anarumo has turned Eli Apple's career around.
For Hayden Hurst.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at it. But you think about it. The one thing that I do remember Joe Judge said, he said, don't tell me why a player didn't work. Tell me why a player did work. Because too many times in the National Football League, we try to fit square pegs into round holes.
Don't tell me what he can do. Tell me what he can do.
Exactly. So when I look at it, I say, you know what? This team identifies talent. They have an eye for talent. And then they're able to use that and make the talent that they grab or the cast-offs that they grab work for them. But understand something. People forget, like us as sometimes people in the media will look at it and we'll say, you know what, this person's just playing great, not realizing Logan Wilson, the maturation process that he took, I don't think is possible without Josh Bynes.
Yeah.
You guys remember Josh Bynes?
Yeah.
The Bengals grabbed Josh Bynes, allowed him to mentor.
Why are you going to bring that back on me?
But it was a great pickup. It was a great
fine.
pickup. It was
tough at the
something that
time.
did so great
No.
for this Bengals defense.
Mhm.
DJ Reader was a massive grab. So it's so many different things that we look to, so many things that we could talk about. But listen, the Bengals had a system in place, right? They didn't just come out the womb ready to go. They had to make it work, make it work for them. It literally was that.
In free agency,
Yeah.
in the draft, and in
What
trades,
you're supposed to do, right?
they utilized all of them. And thankfully, they finally utilized the trade market, like you said, for BJ Hill to try
Right.
and get him.
Right.
Went and attacked value signings like Mike Hilton. Like, it's to see them, like we said, attack all three phases: draft, trades, free agency. It's more signals that this is a different way of operating.
Masty Flip says, Malik, is your goal eventually to branch off into the entire NFL, or will you always be Bengals coverage? I do. That's a great question. I do more than just Bengals coverage right now. But me being here in the city of Cincinnati, I always wanted to give back and have a different type of Bengals show, one that was more inclusive for the fan base. So that's why you see us do the show. But I do a show called the Sit Down with Malik Wright that we upload to our channel on a consistent basis, where we talk about everything in the NFL. But this offseason, expect me to break a lot more NFL news. Just saying that. But Cincinnati will always be my home base.
Jeff Malik is back.
Jeff Malik is back. He's back, and he's back in a big way, and I can't wait. But we want to get to some of these questions here. But as always, make sure you guys give a like to this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys. We can't do this without you. So please make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're looking to start your career today as a broker, make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. There's no place better with better atmosphere, with better people than First Star Logistics. Since we've been out here since September, they treated us like nothing but family. Get to watch games with Icky Woods up in the First Star Logistics suite at Paycor Stadium, and so many other countless things. We had Jonathan India in the suite. So if you're looking to start your career today as a broker and try to make as much money as possible with unlimited potential, apply to First Star Logistics today. Let's get to some of these questions, Daniel.
So if you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them down below. We're going to start out. We got our guy, Super Saiyan, said, hey, Malik, hope you're doing good, brother. How do you feel about this game this weekend? I know we already beat them 3 times. Beating Mahomes a 4th time is hard.
No, I'm done giving too much respect to different teams. Listen, the Chiefs will be a tough team. The Chiefs are no pushover. The Chiefs are no slouch. We are not looking past the Chiefs. No. But the fact of the matter is, the ingredients that the Bengals used to beat the Chiefs earlier this season is the exact same ingredients the Bengals used to beat the Bills on Sunday, and is the exact same ingredients I believe the Bengals will use to beat the Kansas City Chiefs the 4th time in a row. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to let the success Isaiah Pacheco is having as a runner go to their head, and I think they're going to try to really, really force the issue. Then I think when it doesn't work to their detriment, they're going to immediately abandon it and go strictly to a pass game and force Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball on that bad high ankle sprain, and I think that's going to be to his detriment.
You can only hope that they might take the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands and put it in Pacheco's, but I mean, it's a Bengals defense that has been showing out, playing the best ball of the entire season. They are just lights out. You had 11 different players with defensive stops last game. You had, like we talked about, Lou just absolutely holding these elite quarterbacks at this level. So if you can force that, obviously Travis Kelce is a very talented player. Chris Jones is an absolute nightmare and will probably present a lot of problems. After watching this last game and the coaching plan that they came out with on offense and defense, their game plan was exceptional. And I think they're going to be looking squarely at Travis Kelce saying, beat us with Kadarius Toney, beat us with Sky Moore, beat us with Juju Smith-Schuster, just like they did to limit Stefon Diggs to 4 receptions, 35 yards on 10 targets. They are going to make the other people beat them, and hopefully they can come up with a game plan with their combination of screens and quick game that will help to neutralize the effect that Chris Jones can have. So with that and an injured Mahomes, I mean, between all that and the Bengals beating them 3 times in a row, look, it's hard to beat a team 4 times in a row. The Chiefs have beat the Broncos 15 times in a row. So why not?
Right.
Why not?
I love somebody saying, Cameron Blake says, great win last week. Are you guys coming to Arrowhead Sunday? Funny enough,
I will absolutely be
I didn't even know this, and I'm kind of hurt. Lolo's going to the game. Evan's going to the game. I think this will be the first game where the State of the Jungle crew will all be there, and we're gonna be there for the Bengals, man. We're gonna be there. We're gonna pack the house and make it great. So yeah, man, I think it's gonna be fun to be there with the guys and the brothers, man, and make a lot of content as well for you guys. Hopefully, we don't piss off any Chiefs fans.
No, and
All
we
right.
talked earlier about what it means to Bengals fans to be here after having such a long drought, right? I remember just 2 or 3 years ago talking to my friends, talking to, people that are special in my life going, man, like, I just hope they make it one time. Like, I just hope that, like, I don't know with the way things are going into that Joe Burrow era before he was picked. It was like, I don't know, honestly, if I'm talking to myself truly with how things are going, being a small market team, not being active, like we said, on the free agent trade market, will this team make it to a Super Bowl in my lifetime? And to see them make such a quick turnaround, it's tough to articulate what that means to people who have lived in Cincinnati, been through that for the entire drought. It's tough to say, man. It is.
For sure.
So I want to get to this question about this game, and this is something that we have talked about. Jackson Carman, our guy, the Platypus, said, is he going to get a shot at left tackle next year, or was it just one good game?
Well, I think you got to say 2 good games outside of 2 pass sets.
Yeah,
because I mean it was an average game, the first game.
I'll let Logan and Malik say their thing, and then I'll say my.
This is a guy that sat on the bench the entire week and this entire year, and only came in as an extra lineman on run plays throughout the season. Came in rusty, playing a position he never played in the NFL.
Right.
Had 2 bad pass sets, got a bad rep for the game, but played actually pretty well. Look, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be forced to make a decision if Jackson Carman continues to play the way he's
Good problem to have. Good problem to have.
Absolutely, it's phenomenal.
Very good problem to have. And I got to just say kudos to Jackson Carman, because the way people were talking about him,
It's hard to be there.
it's crazy that he was able to turn that around and make it work for him.
He played his ass off.
Oh my God. And people were already writing him off.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing phenomenal. I mean, last week, even Joe Burrow said it after the game, or maybe it was this morning or something. He didn't feel anything from his side all game. And no matter who you're playing, I know the Bills, we talked about it last week, didn't have the best pass rush, but regardless, when you're saying you didn't feel anything from your blind side the whole game, that's a really, really, really big thing. I mean, and as far as him getting a shot next year, I mean, at this point, like, why wouldn't he?
Right.
You're never, I don't think there's not many people in the NFL that are just handed their starting spots year in and year out. We all love Jonah Williams and everything, but we also do realize at the same time that he's probably not going to be here forever. We're not going to pay him forever. Is he really going to be a guy that you're going to build around? Are you going to pay him? No, you're probably not. So it doesn't hurt to, give looks. They're going to compete. You always want healthy competition. I'm not going to say Jackson Carman is going to be your starting left tackle next year, but I think he's certainly going to get his opportunity too.
I'm smiling because Logan is so nice. He said we also love Jonah. I like Jonah, man. I think Jonah's a good player, but I was like, there's a lot of contingency out there that
it's going to depend a lot on the price and the injury history and everything that goes into it.
All I'm going to say, man, the one thing we could tell you, Evan and I both were Alabama Crimson Tide fan. We saw Jonah Williams at the University of Alabama. He was at his best.
Played everywhere, all the time.
He was at his best at the right side. Wouldn't you say?
He was.
That's what I would say.
I just want to add on Jackson Carman just to, I'm Captain Context, right? So I want to go ahead and bring that in. I know we're all riding high off the Bills win. Right. Jackson Carman played his ass off, like I said, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that. Now, I want to take just a little grain of salt here, and we talk a lot about like player potential, right? Jackson Carman now, if he's got his head on straight, is attacking this right, he has the potential to maybe be at Jonah Williams level or better. Okay. We can talk about that. I'm willing to hear that argument, right? Let's look at the numbers from the game in general, right? So we had 20 true pass sets where you didn't have screens, play action to aid them, where the ball wasn't coming out in 2.5 seconds or less, right? He allowed 2 of his pressures on there for a 72.1 pass blocking grade and a 94.1 pass blocking efficiency. So that's on those true pass sets where you're really asked to pass block for a reasonable amount of time. On the season, if we extrapolate this across because this is his only real game play to tackle coming in, preparing for it, right? If we look at that, the pass blocking efficiency would rank 40th and his pass blocking grade would rank 20th. So we're looking at someone in the 25 to 35 range in terms of tackles, right? Now, for comparison, Jonah ranks 30th in pass blocking efficiency and 32nd in pass blocking grade. So we're kind of right at that same tier based on one game. Now, if you're sitting there saying, well, hang on, Jackson Carman showed potential. He looked good. He could be better. I agree. And I'm willing to hear that argument. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not fair. And if you're sitting there going, it's not fair to say he may not be better than Jonah Williams when he has this potential, and it was just one game. If you're thinking that, fell in my trap. You're right. It's exactly one game with 20 pass sets. So before I declare him better than Jonah Williams, before I want to see that potential, but more importantly, I want to see the consistency. I want to see it for more than 20 true pass block sets, which he's going to have to answer that bell like he did in the Bills game. He did. He answered it and then some, right? If they're getting that level of play from their backups, everyone else was around an average grade on the offensive line. Denegi was a bit of a problem in pass pro, but was excellent in the run game. If you're getting that from your guys, then Joe Burrow is going to be an absolute problem, and so will this Bengals offense. I hope that Jackson Carman can create that consistency. I hope that you can have that competition between him and another option before settling on that based on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 games. It's a difficult position when you're talking about 40, 50, 60 pass blocking snaps, right? There's a lot to it that goes in with game script, with what they're looking at, with whether or not a sack or a pressure was on the quarterback, the lineman, what the call was. You just want to see a larger sample. So very encouraging game. Let's hold off on declaring him the future left tackle or right tackle. Let's just see it again. I was very happy with what he came out with. Hope to see it again. Just a small dash of reality. I apologize for raining on anybody's parade.
No, you're not, Logan. You got anything you want to add or no?
No, I mean, not really. I don't, like I said, we all don't know what the future holds for Jonah Williams. Nobody's guaranteed a starting spot in this league. I think Jackson Carman will get his opportunity to win it, but he will sure in hell not be handed it. So if he wins it, he wins it. That's a good thing at the end of the day.
Good question from Masty Flips. Do you guys think that with the game that Lou Anarumo called, that he's going to get interviews for head coaching jobs?
He should.
I don't know what else he has to do.
Can I talk my talk about Big Lou for a second?
Louis Bag Lou. That's what we're calling him on the show now. While you're at it, guys, give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate your support. We're trying to hit 3K, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We go live with the State of the Jungle typically every single Wednesday night. We will be live this Wednesday night, but we just want to do a special post-game reaction show for you as well. But his name on this show is no longer defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. That's not what we call him anymore. We call him Louis Bag Lou because each and every single time the Bengals play defense, he's in his bag. But continue.
Hey, okay, so Louis Bag Lou, I'm sorry, these stats are just wild. So his general quarterbacking numbers on the elite quarterbacks that he's faced over the last couple of years, not just this season when everybody's playing out of their minds, the last couple of years since he's been the D coordinator. We're talking Mahomes, we're talking Allen, we're talking Herbert, Jackson, Rodgers, Tom Brady, okay? The average EPA per dropback of those quarterbacks, negative 0.03. For equivalent, to just put that in context, that is what Mac Jones has provided the Patriots this season. That's what Big Lou has done for this defense. You want to talk about what he did? We said he's already got 2/3 of Buffalo's plays perfectly covered. You talk about making it hard on a guy while also throwing Von Bell and Mike Hilton in their face. My God, dude, like Lou, back off, man. That's borderline assault on national TV. Chill out. All right. Anyways, he also held Josh Allen to just a passer rating of 68.1, which below 80 is like 80s is your average quarterback. Like if you're getting below 80, you just held one of the elite quarterbacks to one of his worst games all season, knowing what you were coming into. So and also obviously you've got the defense that is just remarkably well coached. It seems to be in the right place, the right time. And these guys have fire and they have the green light to just diagnose and shoot. And you see that yesterday when you have 11 different defensive players on the Bengals, all registering defensive stops where whatever play they made constituted a failure for the Bills offense. And when you have everyone playing at that level and you have Lou calling a crazy game where he's showing these simulated pressures and backing out of them, dropping 8, rushing 5, throwing Mike Hilton at him, throwing Von Bell at him. He doesn't know which way things are coming from, man. I mean,
how about what he does? Listen, you guys ever play NBA 2K before?
I play 2K all the time, Malik.
Right. So you know that every single player has the badges to them. If Lou had a badge, it would be cornerback whisperer. He turned Eli Apple's career around completely. Cam Taylor-Britt did not look like the Cam Taylor-Britt earlier in the season.
Cheeto did not look like a shutdown corner.
Cheeto did not look like a shutdown corner. He's a cornerback whisperer. I genuinely believe. So this is. I'm just going to tell you this right now. Lou is the responsible for the Dolphins drafting Xavier Howard. There were a big, people in the Dolphins organization that didn't want them to go after Xavier Howard, and they did. And we see how his career has turned out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lou is a cornerback whisperer. I think if Lou Anarumo goes out there and says, you know what, we're going to draft this cornerback, Harry Smith from the University of Saskatchewan, or something like that. I'm saying Lou must see something in this guy that makes him think that he can play, that he could play at this level and he could do something to help him. I genuinely believe right now, Lou Anarumo is a cornerback whisperer. He's a defensive backs coach. He was a defensive backs coach for the New York Football Giants. That's his skill set. So any corner that he brings into Cincinnati, does not matter if you guys think it's a sexy name or not. He can turn them around. And there's a reason why he's bringing them in. That's just what I want to get out there.
And then the reason why he can turn them into such a great player is, like you said earlier, Lou Anarumo is so good at saying, what are your strengths? How do I put you in a position to win? Which in a league where, look, every coach and coordinator has forgotten more about football than I will ever know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put that out there. And it is understandable why these guys might have a certain level of pride and say, I have the perfect scheme. I've been dialing these plays up for years as a coordinator. Now I'm a head coach. It's my time, or I'm a coordinator. It's my time. And too many times, especially in the older days, you get some of these head coaches that are like, my scheme is perfect. If you guys can just execute better, it's going to be great. But then you get guys like Sean McVay and now like Zach Taylor or Lou Anarumo who say, what can I do to help you be better? To change my scheme, to forget what I think is perfect or right, and say, how do I help you be the best player you can be? And you see what it does for every guy. We talked about cast-offs, Von Bell, BJ Hill, Mike Hilton was dumped on the free agent market, like Cheeto Awuzie. These guys are just out there to be had. And he has done an excellent job in acquiring these guys and helping them flourish by highlighting their strengths and minimizing the situations in which their weaknesses might get exposed.
Beautiful.
So just to add on to this, we've got a question here from our guy, Joe. He said, Josh Allen, do you guys think that he was worrying too much about being reckless with the ball, or that he forgot that he's the most reckless quarterback in the league? What's your guys' thoughts? Why did Josh Allen look like the way he did?
I mean, he's Superman, but who's Superman's villain counterpart?
Lex Luthor?
Lex Luthor. That's what Lou is. Lou Luthor. That's what we're going to call him. Lex Luthor. That's what I call him. Listen, I just think that the way that he's able to just make these guys second guess.
Changing the picture post snap.
It makes them think.
Crazy. I mean, yeah, no.
But it also speaks to what we said before. Do not think that just because this guy has amazing arm talent and can throw the ball 60 yards down the field and is athletic, that necessarily means that they have it all up here from the quarterback position. And if you say that, it's groundbreaking, it's disrespectful, it's not.
Minimal percentage of throws go over 40, 50 yards, man. That's
you know what I cannot wait. I'm going to just be honest with you. I can't wait I can wait. Let me surprise that. For the day Lou Anarumo becomes a head coach and he goes up against the Bengals and Joe Burrow and watching Joe Burrow dissect his defense. I think he will struggle still because Lou knows him well, but at the same time, I think that if you have it up here, you could put it all together on the football field. That's genuinely what I think. I think that I do think that Josh Allen is really, really is a really, really good player. But I think sometimes we overpraise the talent and things of that nature, especially from a guy that can just outthrow your coverage. It's crazy. Joe the conductor. We haven't forgotten.
Anything you want to add?
Good. No. Our guy Michael Ruffin. He said, what are you guys' biggest concerns about this Bengals team, if you have any, moving forward on this run of destiny? Love the show.
Thank you so much, my man. I will tell you, the one thing that was a concern for me was the cornerback core. I'm being honest with you. I really thought that that was going to be an area where we
I thought Stefan Diggs was easily going to get 80 to 100 yards, and that was fine. I was completely fine with that.
That boy almost put up as many yards as me and you did at home.
I know, man. Hey, I'm a little.
No, but
I got a little sauce in the route.
Oh, right. But 11 yards, not bad. Not them joking, but it was the cornerback core for me. So it's gonna make you guys laugh a little bit, and it's gonna come off a little cocky, and I hope it doesn't. I don't mean this to be in a cocky way. Outside of saying, "Oh yeah, the offensive line," how everybody else says it, right? Because it was one game sample size, but they looked damn good and played together. It seemed like communication, as I expected, Ted Karras and Joe Burrow would have this offensive line communicating. Special teams.
Yeah.
For me, I want to see Evan McPherson be consistent. He looked fine yesterday, but I'm just saying, if I had to pinpoint an area for me that I was like, okay, this is an area for concern on this football team, I just don't want to be in a situation, just from the amount of changes we went with the special team, with the new holder and different things of that nature, new punter. Like, I don't want to be in a situation. I don't feel as confident being in the situation in which we need 3 points to tie a game, to win a game, and we are relying on Evan McPherson. That's just me, though.
To put a little exclamation point on what you just said, when Evan McPherson lined up for that kick to beat Kansas City in the AFC Championship game that we were at last season, I already had tears coming down my face because I had so much faith that Evan McPherson was about to bucket that kick. I think it was good to be in such a tough environment in Buffalo, in the snow and the elements, when the ball is already so slick from getting passed around. For them to have the success that they did, I think that's a good confidence booster for them.
I agree.
Where if they're sitting there and going, "Oh yeah, it's cold in Kansas,"
and this
City,
is just me nitpicking,
right?
Yeah,
this is you trying to find. Obviously, like, you want to see the consistency from the offensive line. You hope to see that. Chris Jones, like we said, tough task. Not trying to overlook anything about what he's about, because the dude is an elite interior player. If Aaron Donald's really out, then he's number one. Like, I firmly believe that. So I think that, like you said, special teams on the rebound, looking good, taking good stride going in. Nice confidence booster from last game. Hope to continue.
Logan, I got to ask you a question.
What up?
Before you answer that, about your thought. What is your thoughts? Because Logan, if you guys don't know, Logan loves the unsung heroes, the people that nobody talks about for the Bengals. I'm serious. He is a man for the little guys. He really is. He really is.
Yeah.
Trent Taylor at punt returner.
Yeah.
If we're nitpicking, I hate it. I'm just gonna be. I hate it. I don't like it
either. I mean, I guess the big question there is who else? That's where the question starts to come in. And I think at this point with Trent Taylor, like, for me, I'm at a point with fair catch and get off the field, which is like kind of funny, because that's why people didn't like him at first, And Trent Taylor's solid. He's your average. He's average about everything he does, which is still at an elite level compared to everybody else in the world. So no disrespect there, but it's just like he doesn't really provide you the safetiness you want in the position, or the explosiveness you want in the position. So it's just like, at that point, like, what are you really trying him out there for? I mean, he does his backflips at the end of the game and everything. Tony Romo also flamed him for that. I don't know if you guys heard that, but flamed him for that. But I mean, he's just whatever.
Just want a little more spice.
Yeah, he provides like no threat really to return a punt. Nobody's scared to kick the ball to Trent Taylor, which you don't have to be. I mean, but you would.
What it is? I think I'm just turned on about that. Was it the fumble in the Ravens game?
That was terrible.
That
could have been a game
changer.
For me, that just that just makes me like, but that's just nitpicking.
Well, again, I just want to appreciate that we're Bengals fans sitting here talking about the need for a punt returner, because that's one of our crucial
It's come a long way.
So that's
come a long way.
Like, these are luxury problems to have. So obviously it would be better, but appreciate what we got to at the same time.
Malik, do you have any updates on Ted Karras? If he can't play, but Cappa can, do you think it would be okay for Cappa to play center and Sharping to play right guard?
No.
Can you keep Ted Karras from playing?
He's playing.
No, he's playing. That's a glass eater.
I was gonna say, lock that man up. He'll bust his way through the drywall and find his way to you. I promise.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall, what was your guys' thoughts on Cam Taylor, Britt? Talk about how he performed yesterday.
Juice is a problem.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Juice
that was
is a
his
problem.
Best game of the season,
man.
Man.
Him and I were DMing back and forth, man. And I was like, man, you're phenomenal talent. Yeah. So you love to see a guy like that, be be who he is, man, and being able to step up in the role that he's in. So
Not afraid to
it's-
put his nose in between everybody in the
love.
traffic and everything
Actually,
else,
man,
man. Dude's
I
not
love
afraid
it.
of
He's gonna learn a
anything.
lot from Mike Hilton, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They're
God.
phenomenal. Did we talk about it again? I
Don't
love
talk dirty to
Josh
me on the
Vines.
Yo,
show.
let's
Logan.
all do
Josh
that.
Vines, PG-13.
Let's all do that. But let's put some juices in the in the comment section. Put the juice emoji. Let's all put the juice emoji, and that's our way of congratulating.
That man was
Juice
incredible.
Cam Taylor-Britt for the game that he had. So let's all put the juice emoji like Jarrett started it off. I'll put the juice emoji in the comment section, man. He's playing phenomenal. And give this video a like, guys, and subscribe while you're at it.
So I know we're going to talk about the Chiefs matchup more on Wednesday, but really quickly, Rel sees a lot of people saying that Frank Clark and Chris Jones can wreck the game. Do you guys think that they're good enough to wreck the game for 4 quarters?
Chris Jones, yes. Frank Clark, absolutely.
When's
not.
the last time
Frank Clark has
wrecked
not
the
been
game?
Frank Clark has not been good for 3 years, guys. All right. Like he was good in Seattle. He got to the Chiefs the first year and struggled, and it really has not been great since. Like he's a name, he's a contract, and he's an average. Like he's not lived up to his contract that he's gotten.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'd be worried about George Karlaftis, which
say.
George Karlaftis, not trying to hate on him. The guy is a rookie. Like I am not concerned about the production that Frank Clark has had because quite frankly, Frank Clark has not had
Frank Clark, bro.
That's again, not worried about it.
Everybody's like a 70 in Madden now or
Yeah,
something.
everything that team does on defense starts and ends with Chris Jones.
Look at anything for Frank Clark, and it's not good. Like I challenge you to find me one pass rush efficiency stat that like supports him getting more snaps than George Karlaftis.
Amari's asking about the injury to Patrick Mahomes. How do you guys feel about going up against a less mobile and agile Mahomes?
I feel like the Bengals are going to get, oh, you're lucky. Like they didn't beat him three times in a row, at 100% strength. But,
I think obviously it helps, but you obviously also want to play everybody's at their full strength. So it's a little bit of both. I always want to beat them at their best. So
I talked about this a little bit earlier. I hope that he is healthy enough to play because former players have talked about getting those painkiller shots, getting those Toradol shots before the game, and talking about how you can't feel your foot, so you can't be sure of your footing. You can't be sure that you are not overextending in a way that is going to cause detrimental harm to your body. So being that that's on his plant foot, that he may have that get contacted at some point, or if he tries to run and be mobile, as we know Pat Mahomes likes to do, I just hope he's okay. I hope he doesn't do any kind of detrimental harm. I hope he's as healthy as he can be for that game. And maybe he doesn't have to rely on those painkillers.
Chaston asks, if we beat Kansas City for the 4th time, do you see the media finally crowning Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes?
I think with this address next to it, with the high ankle injury, I don't think that the media is going to do that. I do think you will see more conversations if he wins Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
But I still think people are going to be like, oh, they're tied.
You saw this week with now the is Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, what's the word with that? And honestly, at this point, like you said, I don't see that improving if Pat Mahomes is injured for this game. And if it's 3-0 Mahomes to Burrow right now, or Burrow to Mahomes, and they're still not talking about it, like then
they're probably not going to.
I don't know what a 4th one against a hobbled Mahomes is going to be, which at that point you just got to say, hey, that's all right. Time will tell.
Right.
So we've got a couple more questions here. Malik, do you have any update on Pratt? The last we heard was he was frustrated about not being out on the field on 3rd down.
He's playing a lot of snaps, man. I think it was just more so a communication thing. He seems like he's getting more opportunities out there. He understands it, but that's drama. I think that this team is kind of all locked in, and they've sort of came together. So any problems they may have had, like they're all working for what's the best interest of the team, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. I think that's why they were able to go into Buffalo and take on the us versus the world mentality. So,
and we've got a lot of questions about the Chiefs versus Bengals game. Make sure you guys tune in on Wednesday. We're going to discuss the entire game. We're going to break it down, but we've got a question. Brian's looking forward to the Super Bowl. Who would you guys rather play defense-wise, the Niners or the Eagles?
Like
both of them.
Would you rather play our offense go against their defense, or
both of them?
I would love to play the Niners with their corners that they have. Fred Warner is an alien. That guy is. Look, I don't know what lab they made him in, but all right, I do not want to discount how just mind-blowingly absurd that guy is at football. Okay, that's out of the way. The corners against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like I'm cool with that. Obviously, you're worried about Bosa being a freak on the line.
Mhm.
That's going to be an issue. Just like when you play TJ Watt, when they played Max Crosby.
Mhm.
But like we said, when we look at this Buffalo game, this coaching staff came out with a perfect game plan on both sides of the ball. And you have to think that they've earned the benefit of the doubt to say, hey, they can game plan for these teams when you have very specific threats. And I think that's what you have with the Niners is not on offense necessarily where they can hurt you in a bunch of ways, but like we just named the quarterbacks that Lou Anarumo has turned into Mac Jones. Okay, you're telling me he's going to go up against Brock Purdy and he gets to change the picture all over. Look, Brock Purdy has been playing better than any Mr. Relevant should. Okay, I want to give credit to that, but we can't argue that his best ability is his ability to make his turnover worthy throws just magically hit the ground or fall out of people's hands.
Weird.
He has had every opportunity to throw 2, 3, 4 picks, and everything seems to just magically hit the ground. So I would love to play the Niners. I think the Eagles present a lot more challenges offensively, scheme diversity. You saw that the difficulty that playing with that kind of triple option Baltimore offense worked. Mixing that into a spread offense where you have A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith. I don't mean to discount the 49ers weapons, but I think that they can play with the picture on Brock Purdy a lot easier than they could with Jalen Hurts.
So the last question, somebody's talking about the narrative about the Bengals offensive line. They said the Bengals offensive line was only good because the Bills defensive line couldn't get their footing. What say you guys?
It's funny how that's the argument after the game, isn't it? But wasn't it this D-line is about to tear up the Bengals offensive line and the Bengals won't have a chance? I believe you look like you're holding something back. Please let loose.
Low-hanging fruit. That's what I'm going to say. It's low-hanging fruit. They'll
You're
continue.
letting them off easy. Don't let them off easy.
They're going to continue to make excuses. All I'm just going to say is the same thing that I've been saying on the show for the past few weeks. Humbly, make sure the respect is just as loud as the disrespect.
What position group or aspect of that game did the Bengals not dominate?
I'll wait.
Name one. Dominated the secondary in the passing game. Dominated their run game. Dominated in the run game.
You come into
yards.
a Bengals show chat and you say, y'all are so cocky. How are we so cocky? Because we're speaking.
I'm sorry. Are any of those facts? Like, did Stefan Diggs not get held to 4 receptions on 10 targets for 35 yards?
Are we supposed to say? I think other teams, and I could tell you
the Bengals not have 172 rushing yards with 3 backup linemen.
I could tell he's a Chiefs fan or something like that. But like you come in here, you're talking trash. The simple fact is, man, do you want us to be like, oh, we're just happy to be here? No, like when an opportunity knocks, you have the ways you could. Right, you could either kick the door down or you could act like you're happy to be here. The simple fact is, Cincinnati Bengals are proven that they are the class of the AFC. We are the top of the AFC. They are the team to beat. Like, what is there more to say? Listen, Ric Flair said it best: to be the man, you got to beat the man. Last I checked, they were ready to crown the Buffalo Bills as the AFC, champs this year and Super Bowl champs and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, championships are not won in the offseason. Championships are not won in preseason. You still have to go out there. You still have to play a game, and you still have to let your game talk for yourself. I promise you, what us 3 guys are saying up here on the show ain't gonna have no bearing on that game. Them boys are gonna play. Them boys are already motivated. Them boys already feel disrespected. So, my man, if you think that, the Bengals fan base or the Bengals team should be less cocky or less confident.
I cited all my facts, bro. Where are yours?
That's what I'm saying. So like all we deal with facts on the show. The simple fact is, man, I'm going to tell you like it is. Questions get answered, right? Bengals were disrespected. It's still Cincinnati versus everybody, and we're still yelling out who they. Make sure we show up to the stadium loud. Make sure we're there fully to support. Let's make sure you guys tune into State of the Jungle Live Wednesday, 7 p.m., same time, same crew. You know what to do. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Kevin, buddy, I hope that you join us on the show. But until then, Cincinnati versus everybody. We're out. Who they?